podcast form with Emma. Finally. You've been gone for too long. You went on vacation and just left me.
Yep.
Very rudely, I might add. Just can't believe that Emma wanted to spend time with her extended family instead of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that's the biggest question everybody has. It's just like, where were you? Are you okay? Blah, blah, blah. I've said multiple times that you were on vacation, and like on every single video I posted without you, they're like, where's Emma? And I'm like, I don't... This isn't her life, but yeah, so do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, pretty much all of my family lives in like Utah, and so we were in like Utah and Idaho and just having fun.
Yeah, just having a good time. You went to like Bear Lake and stuff like that. Looked very fun. I was very sad whenever I saw a post though, because I was like, she's not here recording the podcast with me. No, but I did miss you. Yeah, and then also, if you're watching on YouTube, you might be questioning the bulletin board in between us that simply says the talking needs to stop.
It's a perfect podcast decoration.
Yes, it really is. But it's specifically here for two reasons. The reason it exists at all is because my chorus teacher says this so much that it became an inside joke, and now he can no longer say it because it's an inside joke, and now he doesn't really have a way to shut us up. It's kind of bad. But anyway, so I did that, and it's been like that for a year. But the reason it's here is because I'm supposed to be on vocal rest. I'm doing a show. It actually opens tonight, and my director was like, you guys need to just take a break, just like do whatever you need to do. You should go on vocal rest. You should not like be talking an excessive amount. And I was like, so about that, I'm gonna be fine though. Like I'm very used to talking a lot and then singing a lot directly after. I will be okay. But it's kind of funny. The choices that I've made.
Sabotaging the show.
Yes, Emma's sabotaging the show. Yeah, it's gonna be great. But yeah, do we want to answer a couple quick questions?
Yeah,
okay. I posted this 20 minutes ago because I'm very on top of things. So we don't have a ton. But somebody said, what is your favorite Christmas present that you have ever gotten? You know what it is? I only have used it a couple of times because it's very difficult to find a place where you can use it. But I got a hoverboard when those were popular, like 2015, 2016. Those are so fun.
They are.
People make fun of those so much, but they are so fun for no reason.
You're just kind of like...
I know, it's so good. Except I don't have a big enough house to like use it anywhere, and then if you use them outside, it gets really bad. Plus I have like...
clunk down the stairs.
Yeah, plus I have a gravel driveway, so that would not end well if I tried to do it out there. But it's still my favorite, even though I never use it, because I'm like, that's so cool. But yeah, anyway, what about you?
It's hard to, the only one I can think of is like, one time I just got like a giant bag of Kit Kats.
That's sweet.
And it was just so good.
Yeah.
I love Kit Kats.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty great. Oh, you know what I probably should have said? This camera.
Oh.
What do you order at McDonald's? What do you get at Mickey D's?
I usually get like an apple pie.
Oh, not like a regular meal, you just go get an apple pie? Okay.
And like an ice cream cone.
Okay, that's nice. Well, if their ice cream machine even works. No, I kind of am the same way. I don't ever eat food at McDonald's. It's not something I do. So the only reason I ever go there is to get a shake because they're usually open late, and sometimes you crave ice cream shake at,
late.
Like 2 a.m. You're just like, yeah, need that right now. Yeah, fun fact, last night it was like, the cast of the show I'm in all went out to Cookout to get shakes. And I was like, that sounds great. I want a shake. And so I decided to not go through the drive-thru and like did the outside situation, which is what we were all going to do. And then it was taking so long. And I was the first one that ordered, ended up being the only one that ordered because they were like, yeah, we have a little bit of a wait on the shakes. And I was like, that's fine. Like 50 teenagers just showed up all wanting shakes. Like, it's understandable. But the thing is that if you went through the drive-thru, they gave you your shake right away. But I had to wait 45 minutes for my shake, and I could see them passing out other shakes, and I was like, what is happening here? I was very upset. Yeah, and, like, other people that, like, just went and got food, like, saw what was happening, and they're like, you need to say something. But I didn't say anything because I'm a wimp. But it was very weird.
Me and some of my siblings and then, like, my aunts, we went to this one little place to get shakes and, like, food and stuff. And so we got there, they, like, handed out our shakes quick because it's just done faster.
Yeah.
And then we had been waiting for, like, half an hour. And we were like, why is this taking so... Like, people behind us were getting their food, and we still hadn't gotten ours. And we were like, okay, what did we even order that's taking this long? And then we didn't order food.
You hadn't ordered any food?
We were just sitting there.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. That would be why you didn't get your food. It's because you didn't order any food.
But the thing was, if, like, someone had, like, came up with the same name, we would have just, like, taken their food. Because we didn't even know what we ordered, so we'd have been like, yeah, sure, this is probably what we got. So, yeah.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. Alright, shall we jump into it?
Yeah.
Okay. You're like, yeah, let's get off of this conversation. So, there are reasons that I wanted you to be here for this. You know, things are about to start picking up. But I'm very excited about this episode because, I don't know, drama just starts. And I'm so excited. Maybe drama doesn't start in this one. Maybe it's the next one. But still.
Like the setup.
Yeah, but I'm just like, I posted this on my story a couple days ago, but I was like, drama in real life, like, I can't.
I saw that.
Yeah, I can't really handle it. But when I'm writing drama, I'm like, oh, this is tea. I got way too excited doing some of this. So I hope everybody enjoys it as much as I do. All right. So, wait, what episode are we even on? What if I don't know? Okay, no, it's this one.
Okay.
I think
because we just jump ahead like so.
Because we just talked about yeah, it was the last episode was with Jake and Lauren. That was a while ago. Okay.
I've heard Peter's gonna pee his pants.
Yeah, unfortunately, I did actually forget that I had written that down. But it does happen. All right.
Oh yeah.
So we have a little spoiler alert. But
Spoiler.
Okay. Anyway, so let's start. Scene 1. This first bullet point just says, so Sirius has fallen head over heels for this man and doesn't know what to do about it. And this man is none other than Remus Lupin.
Wow.
He's having a good time. Oh, not a great time, but you know.
He's having a time.
He's certainly having a time. But yeah, so Sirius, how do I say this? He's never had to, like, show that he's interested in somebody. They just usually kind of know,
like, yeah.
Or, like,
they'll just, like, come to him.
Yeah, so he always, like, sees it coming, and it's always just very, you know, easy to him. It's all been great. But, like, having a crush on your best friend is a little different, because he's like, I don't know how this works out. And, you know, just a disclaimer, I think I've said this in TikToks and stuff, but Sirius has always, like, known that he likes guys as much as girls. It just took him a while to figure out that not everybody else is like that. He's like, oh, I thought this was just, like, a thing. But, like, whatever. It is a thing. But, you know. Anyway. But he had never, like, really, like, had a crush on a guy. Like, like there's a difference between, like, having a crush and, like, ooh, between, like, whatever he's feeling for Remus right here. He's like, oh, no. This is a lot. And I'm not getting over it, and what is happening?
Because it's like when it's like your best friend.
Yeah, and it's like you know them so well, and you're just, oh my goodness, it's just a mess. But no, and he's completely unreadable to Sirius. Sirius has no idea what he's thinking at any moment of any day ever. And he's just like, I don't, like, in regards to his feelings, like, you know, he's very good friends with him, so he can figure out some other stuff.
Yeah.
But he's like, I don't know. I don't know
how he's feeling about this.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know how he would remotely feel about this, and also Sirius is way too infatuated with him to notice that Remus is totally crushing on him too. But he's like, I don't know how this is. I don't know what's going on.
Like one of those conversations that's like, hey, like,
yeah, and it's like
chance in love with me.
Yeah, is that like a fun little thing to bring? Yeah, it's a difficult thing to bring up. But at this point, Sirius is a little stressed because he's like, I don't even know if Remus wants to be friends anymore because he's like been avoiding me and everything. He's being a bit of an idiot here, but don't worry about it. He's okay. But yeah, Sirius has been like doing his best to like test the waters, but just Remus is just like not responding because Anyway, it's
he's going through his own.
Yeah, he's going through his own thing. Things would be a lot better if they just talked about it, but you know, that's not how fan fiction works. So, no. But yeah, Sirius is very much feeling like he needs to talk to somebody about this. But like, how
does he talk to Louie? Oh,
no.
I was about to say that would have been.
Oh no.
No. Imagine him just like walking up to Layla,
being like, "Hey, I know you literally hate me.
You hate me, but
let's
me out."
No. What he does, he has to talk to James about it because James is his bestie for the resties, you know. But also he's like, I don't know.
He's like, do I want to tell James?
Yeah, do I want to tell James
how
everything?
James feeling about all
yeah, so he's like, okay, what did I write here? I said he needs to tell somebody about this, but if he's being honest, he has no idea how James would react to this.
He shows up to like McGonagall and he's like, hey.
Oh my god. Sirius going to McGonagall. He's like, so turns out.
Like, do you have any advice?
Do you have any advice if you are bisexual and also in love with your best friend? And she's like,
absolutely.
My word. No, but he has no idea how James would react because not only is it like the best friend thing, but it's also like the fact that he's a guy thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know how James would react about this because he's like literally the nicest person in the world. But there's just things that like sometimes this man does not react well to things.
Yeah.
For example, I think that the first time when like James first learned that Remus was like not rich. James had never had not rich friends before, and this man did not know how to react. And he just like made it such a weird thing, even though he didn't mean it to be a weird thing. He was just like, so like he tried to like avoid talking about money, but then it became this whole other thing.
Like someone would mention money and he would be like, shut
up, Remus is here. We can't talk about it. But no, it's like, you know, and then of course,
like, do you like scavenge for clothes?
Literally. He means so well, and he just doesn't get a lot of things. But then of course once like, you know, his mom was like, okay, you can't talk like this in front of Remus. That's not how any of this works. He like realizes it. He knows, and obviously he's fine now.
He's like a good person, but also like just a dumb kid. So.
Yeah, he really is. So Sirius is like, okay, I don't know if I want to like get into that whole thing because I don't know how he's gonna react. I don't know if I'm ready for that. I don't know anything about that. But even so, he needs some advice.
Yeah.
So. After, or like before a Quidditch practice or something like that, he's like super casual. He's like, hey James, so fun fact, I like this girl, but she really just seems to not pick up on it. And James is like, serious, I'm pretty sure every single girl in the school knows that you would potentially be interested in them. I'm pretty sure that this is just not true. And he's like, no, but let's say there's like this one girl. Let's say, I don't know, not somebody that I would usually like go for.
He's like, it's Julie.
No. He's like, let's say like I'm only interested in like, I've only ever dated like brunettes, but like this person's blonde. Like it's so bad. And James is like, but you've dated blondes before. He's like, that's not the point. He's like, let's say that this is what happened. How would I let her know that like I'm interested in blonde? I'm on his face right now if you're not watching. What? It's just so painfully awkward, but James doesn't notice. He's like, yeah, this is...
James is too dumb to pick up on anything.
He's like, okay, so a blonde girl. No,
and he's like, yeah, okay.
No, but he's like, how would I like say that? Like, what if you know, she only
and
thinks
James
of me
is
as like a
you
friend?
should just like dye your hair blonde.
No, the advice that James ends up giving is he's like, okay, so what you're gonna do is like you're gonna talk about how you're interested in like a different blonde girl, so that then like she knows that like, okay, you're into blondes. And Sirius is like, you know what, that might work.
But then it's literally saying you like this one. No.
Listen, they're 15-year-old teenage boys, okay? There's a lot that they don't quite understand here.
Like, what other werewolves do I know?
My word. No, but he's like, okay, but that honestly might be good. He's like, what if I just let Remus know that like I'm interested in guys, and then like we can see how it goes. It'll be great. There will be no issues here at all. But anyway, so he's still trying to figure that out. Next scene. So the next Saturday, the boys are exploring the castle. They do this sometimes because, you know, they're still working on the map. There's always more things that they can find in Hogwarts, you know. So like Peter like sometimes does this when he's like in rat form. And then like the rest of them are under the cloak because now they can't all fit underneath it. But, you know, they're trying to figure it out. They're going through the 4th floor at this moment in time. Just trying to figure out if there's anything else there. But they're also, like, you know, trying to not be suspicious about it. Things are dandy, having a good time, nothing is suspicious. But then James and Sirius just get a little bit too carried away into transforming into their forms just for funsies.
You're not gonna fit like a whole deer.
No, that's the point. They're just walking through the hallway just as a deer, and he's like, it's gonna be fine. No one's gonna notice anything. And like Sirius as, you know, the dog and everything. And they're like, haha, like we're not gonna... Remus is like mad because he's like, you guys are literally about to get caught. And they're like, haha, we won't get caught. But guess what happens?
Do they get caught?
Maybe. So some second-year Gryffindor walks into the corridor right after both James and Sirius have transformed.
It's like, Jeffrey?
Literally. James, I said, quote, James deer in the headlights moment. He just looks, and this kid is like what? And this kid is like, guys, it's Jeffrey! And so then he runs back and he's like freaking out to everybody, and Remus is like, great, now what are we gonna do about this? Yeah, so you know, they're transforming back and James is like, okay, what are the odds they just don't tell anybody about that? And Remus is like, no, they're gonna go tell people about that. So now they're all like back in their normal form and like arguing and stuff. And James is like, listen, I've got to play Jeffrey the deer once again. It's the only way. and he's like, no, someone's gonna realize that you don't have the same like markings on your face as like your glasses. Like somebody's gonna realize this, or that you're just not here while Jeffrey is happening. And Sirius is just upset because he's like, they didn't even notice me. And I looked like the Grim, like he should have been fearing for his life. And Remus is just so mad that he says, quote, don't kid yourself, you look like a large poodle. So then, you know, they're all just arguing. It's just chaotic because we need some of that in our life. And then Lily walks in and she walks into it and she's like, does anybody care to tell me why a bunch of kids are telling me that Jeffrey the deer is back in the castle? And James is like, listen, it was an accident. And Lily's like, okay, how you guys said that last time? How do you I can only believe that you accidentally snuck a deer into the castle once. That's my limit here. I can't do it. And Remus is like, listen, do you see Jeffrey here? No, you do not. Yeah. And Lily's like, listen here, Remus, I have had it with you defending these people. She's like about to throw hands here. Like she's upsetty spaghetti. And James is like, whoa, calm down. We don't need another fight happening. We should just, you know, calm down. Listen, I've got some butterbeer upstairs. We could just have some, talk it out. Just the two of us. Lily looks like she's about to punch him in the face, but she storms off. But anyway, but soon there's like a ton of Gryffindors in the hallways all looking for Jeffrey, and they got a dip. So yeah, that's just a fun little story. But by the end of the night, everybody's claiming that they've seen Jeffrey once more in the Gryffindor common room. Everybody's singing Jeffrey's song once again, whatever it means. Jeffrey Bass.
Jeffrey the deer.
My goodness. But the Marauders are certainly in the middle of it up until Remus decides that he's like, this is about enough. Like, I don't need this in my life. There's like a party happening here spontaneously. But it's like 9 p.m. and he's like, you know what? I'm a dip. I'm gonna go to bed. Like, whatever. But Sirius, of course, notices and he's like, okay, this is it. This is the time. I'm gonna do it. So he goes upstairs and he's like, he finds Remus reading, of course, because what else does Remus do at all times? But, Sirius just kind of, like, sits on the bed, like, opposite him, and he's like, hey, what have you been reading? And Remus is like, you wouldn't like it, it's poetry. And Sirius is like, how do you know I wouldn't like it? I never said that I don't like poetry. And Remus is like, oh, I don't know, literally the way you dress, you act, you talk, I would guess that you don't like poetry. And Sirius is like, that is absolutely correct. But, they're
like,
just...
I don't like poetry, but I'm offended you would think that.
Yeah. But yeah, so they're just, they're just making little small talk, talking about that, and everything like that. But Sirius is just trying to figure out how to be like, quote, hee hee, so I like boys. I love what I write here. It just cracks me up, but only me. Yeah, but anyway, so then Remus finally puts down his book and he's like, okay, what do you want to tell me? Because you keep on staring at me like you want to tell me something, and it's just kind of creeping me out. And Sirius is like, nothing, just keep on like reading. Like I don't even care. And he's like, well, I can't like keep on reading when you just are staring me down. Like what is happening? And blah blah blah. And then Sirius is like, fine, okay, but you can't tell anybody. Not even James. And Remus is like suddenly like worried now. He's like, okay, like T, like what are you sure? And he's like, why? And he's like, just don't tell him. It'll be fine. And Remus is like, okay, like it's good. Is everything all right? He's like, yeah. It's just so it turns out I like boys. And Remus is like, what? He's like, explain a bit more. And he's like, yeah. So like, I think I like boys. And Remus is like, I just picture him just like, what? Just like absolutely losing his mind on the inside, but like
he's just like freaking out.
He's just like staring at one place, just like while his mind is. It's like that scene in like SpongeBob where they're like running through and pulling the files out of their brain. It's like, can you find this? We've forgotten this. And yeah. So yeah, that's where Remus is at right now. And if Remus had time to like think or like process, the next words would have been something like, so do I, or I accept you, that's great, or I'm so glad you told me. But instead, what he said was, hang on, weren't you just like flirting with Evelyn Nolan downstairs like 5 minutes ago? And Sirius is like, well, like, yeah, but like, and Remus is like, but what, bestie? Like, I'm a little concerned. And Sirius is like, listen, I didn't say that I like guys, like, exclusively. And then Remus is like, oh. And he's like, yeah, I like both. And Remus is like, okay. And he's, like, still, like, stressing out of his mind. And, he's panicking, but Sirius is panicking more because he just told him this, and all that he said was, like, hang on. But you were like, just
slow down.
Yeah, he's like Remus did not react well to this. Because he's, going through it himself. But so he's like, do you think I'm like weird? Or like what's happening here? And then Remus finally realizes and he's like, no, like, oh my gosh, no, like it's just I'm just shocked a little bit. But yeah, and Sirius is like, yeah, it's all good. But eventually, and they're just kind of standing there and they're doing that thing where they're just nodding and like, yeah, just aggressive nodding for way too long. And eventually it's just too much for Sirius, and he's like, can you just, like, ask me a question or something? Just stop looking and just nodding obsessively. It's just a very awkward situation here, and they're just, like, stumbling over each other, and Remus is like, I'm sorry, and he's like, it's okay, just what is happening, and everything like that. But Sirius is like, okay, but, like, what do you want to know? What do you want to ask me? And Remus's mind is like, so many things. I want to ask you 50 bajillion things, but instead he's like, how did you know? Which is, again, not a good question to ask somebody. But, you know, and, you know, Sirius tells him, he's like, I don't know, just known since forever or whatever. But Remus, he's like, I don't know, just when I had crushes on guys. And Remus is like, who? Like, immediately. And it's, like, not okay. He's really not good at, like, reacting here. But he's like, what? And he's like, who did you have a crush on? He's like, he's never talked about this before, and so he's, like, embarrassed, but he's like, yeah, it was, like, Benji Fenwick. He's, like, a 7th year, like, he's, like, 2 years above him, and Remus is like, isn't he the one who got hit by the Whomping Willow? Which is canon, by the way. Benji Fenwick, the only reason he's mentioned in the books is because he got hit by the Whomping Willow when everybody was trying to explore it the first, like, year that it was there. And he's like, you had a crush on that dude? And Sirius is like, yeah, like, a little bit. He's like, why? I needed that in my life. But, yeah, but anyway. But Remus still has one question. He's like, so, do you like anyone now, though? And taking the advice of James, he's like, yeah, I actually really like this other person. And for a second, you know, Remus gets so excited because he's like, oh my gosh, is he about to tell me that he likes me? Like, something like that. Like, you know, he's so excited. And then he's like, yeah, I like Brendan Irwin.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so now Remus is, like, heartbroken. Because now it's not just that he doesn't like boys, it's that he likes boys
but not
and
him.
not him. And so he's, like, devastated. And he's just like, oh, that's, like, cool. And now Sirius is like, oh, I'm sorry, you didn't want to hear about any of this. Like, this is probably weird to you. And he's like, no, it's, like, fine. And he's like, oh, shut up. Like, it's all good and everything like that. It's just, like, so awkward and bad and, like, But yeah, but he's like, I'm sorry, like, I feel like I made you uncomfortable by telling you all of this, and Remus is like, no, you didn't, like, that's not it, like, I'm just, like, I'm tired, like, I don't know, it's just so weird and bad, but, you know, that's them for a while, so, yeah, sorry about that, yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate, but yeah. Then, you know, Sirius goes back downstairs, and Remus is just there with his own thoughts, and he probably cries a little bit, because it's just a lot. But yeah. So now we enter sad, depressed Remus. Which is not, like, fun, but...
No! Why would that be fun?
But it's, like, I don't know. He's just, I don't know. Anyway, so he's, like, weird the whole next day. He just, like, is not paying attention to anything that's happening, and it's just really hard for him to, like, act normal around Sirius, but then he was around Sirius the whole next day, and then the day after that was, like, a Quidditch match, and Remus was mad because Brendan Irwin is also on the Quidditch team, and so he's, like, angry at him, and, like, didn't even notice when Peter peed his pants in the middle of the ocean.
Oh, wow.
Like, didn't even react at all. You know, he's just not having a good day. But yeah, he's just trying to act normal. Sirius, it basically looked like he was normal, but inside he's, like, devastated. I promise it'll get better, but it will take some time because honestly, these next few episodes are gonna be really sad. I was like, why did you invite me back for this? I'm just so mad.
I get home yesterday
and you're like, listen, everything's happening. It's all bad. Yeah. But anyway, now Remus goes to arithmancy. And, like, here, there's no other people for him to, like, be, you know, trying to act normal around. So he just, like, doesn't. And Lily walks in, she's like, hey, what's oh, you don't look good. she's like, what's up, bestie? And he just, like, doesn't say anything, and she's like, that's not normal. Okay. So, you know, she just, like, ends up, like, taking his notes, like, the entire class, and he just basically is just, like, out of it. But when the end of class comes, Remus just looks terrified at the prospect of, like, having to go back into, like, the normal world and everything like that, and so she's like, you know what? Let's skip class here, which is, like, not a Lily thing that she does, but she's like, I feel like it's necessary. So they go into, like, the prefect common room, which is, like, not really a common room. It's just kind of, it's just like a meeting room that they have. It has, like, a couch or something, you know.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, she's really sweet, and, like, of course it's empty because what prefects are, like, skipping class? Yeah. But she's like, hey, so, like, do you wanna tell me what's up? And he finally does. He's like, Sirius likes guys. And Lily's like, wait, but, like, that's good. And he's like, he doesn't like me. And she's like, oh, Remus. And Remus, like, ugly cries and tells her everything. And I can just imagine Lily just trying to comfort him but having no idea how to do it. She's like,
like the talking needs.
She's like the crying needs to stop. No, but I think, like, she definitely for sure tried to comfort him by being like, you know, he's, like, totally a jerk. And he's like, I know, and, like, cries harder. And it's just like, she's just, like, awkward like, patting.
She's like, it's okay.
It's gonna be okay, Jeffrey.
She's like, just think of Jeffrey.
Yeah, she's just, I can just imagine, like, I don't even know what she would do, but it just wouldn't, like, be great, but she would try. But yeah, so that happens. But then, of course, when Remus finally comes back and, like, is done with everything, Sirius wants to know where he was at, so, because he skipped class. And he's like, yo, where were you? And he's like, oh, I was, like, in the library, like, whatever, like, I don't know. And he's like, okay. And, you know, everything seems normal until Peter, like, pulls Remus aside. And he's like, hey, dude, like, I had the map today. And, like, I looked for you. And you were literally hanging out with Lily Evans for, like, an hour and a half. What was up with that? And Remus is like, what? I don't know what you were talking about. That's wild, man. Dude. And he's like, I don't know, it must have, like, made a mistake or something, because, like, I wasn't.
How easy would it have been to just say, like, oh, just, like, prefect stuff?
I know, but he was just like, he's like, I don't know, like, it was nothing. Like, he just kind of panicked, but he was like, you know, I wouldn't be hanging out with Lily, right? And Peter was like, yeah, of course not, like, whatever. But Peter doesn't want to, like, cause drama, so he just kind of drops it, you know? Or so we think. But anyway, maybe we'll come back to that later. Maybe that'll be a thing. But anyway, Peter saw that, and he's like, I'm a little sus.
He's like, I don't think.
He's like, that's a little.
The map was not wrong.
He's like, the map doesn't make mistakes, but who knows? Well, it used to make mistakes, but, like, now it kind of doesn't, so it's kind of, anyway. But yeah, this is the last scene. It is a shorter episode because it is sad and I don't want to do that to y'all. But yeah, it's the last little bit of, like, you know, reconciliation here, because I literally wrote, Elizabeth, we have to have something that's remotely happy here. And maybe it's not happy, but it certainly is something. So Sirius, like, notices that Remus is, like, kind of off, but in his mind, it's like, yeah, he's definitely, like, not interested in me, like, it just confirms and everything like that, like, he thinks I'm a little weird for this or whatever, and it's just, like, not good. But anyway, James comes up to him at, like, the end of the day, and he's like, hey, so, like how did it go?
How's that blonde girl?
He said, how did it go with Marlene? What do you mean, Marlene?
Oh my gosh.
And James is like, don't play dumb. I know you like her. It matches up with everything you said. It's just funny that, you know, you like her now because you guys used to date in third year, which is why you think that she's not interested in you. But I bet you she'd still go for you. And Sirius is like, dude, it is not Marlene. Like, I don't know what you mean. And he's like, well, who is it then? And then he's like, you know what, it might be Marlene. And so then James is like,
how, like, this is how she's introduced. Like, wow, what a legend. I love her.
She's been here before. I just haven't had anything really interesting to say about her up until now. But yeah, she's like, okay, yeah, maybe sure, it's Marlene. And James is like, good.
He's like, oh, we're gonna schedule like.
No, he said good.
practice.
He said good because I already told her about it.
James. Okay, how would this line up with this? He's like, I've never like dated a blonde girl, and he's
Well,
like,
he
and James
has.
is like, oh, so it's the blonde girl you dated.
He had dated blondes,
know,
but that wasn't the point. But yeah, no. But yeah, Sirius is like, you did what? And that's the end of the episode. Oh my god. I love that. Yeah, so that's kind of fun. Yeah. It's really great. But yeah, what are your thoughts about this episode?
Well, I mean, you delivered on Peter.
I did deliver on Peter Pegas fans. It was the only way I could think of to do it.
Shout out to Jake.
Yes, shout out to Jake. They really just gave me
Oh my gosh.
so much for that.
But I did really love Lily in this one.
Yeah.
Sometimes she's stressful, but she was really good. Friend.
Yeah, and like that's the point. Like in canon, like, you know, Remus talks about, you know, she was there for me at a time when nobody else was.
Yeah.
And I think that time is starting now. We'll get to a more point where she's there for him when not really anybody else is, but like, you know, it's kind of starting that, and I just we ought to have kind Lily, because she's being an idiot at this point in life with the whole Snape thing, but like she's still overwhelmingly nice. So I think that's important to show.
That's
so,
like why she's friends with Snape. Is
like, so because she's too nice. Except not to James. She doesn't like it. But yeah, so yeah, that's kind of fun and kind of funky, and yeah. So
it's just been so much drama.
Yeah, and we're about to get into the real drama.
Oh my god.
Next time, there is the tea. This is like legitimate, like, I had to sit down and be like, you know, if like, you know, there's like a dramatic situation, you've heard about my dramatic situations, but like when you have to sit down and like think of like all of the details, and you're like, because all of them are important and everything like that. So I had to do that with this, and it's like, it's intricate, but yeah, I'm excited about it. But yeah, I hope it wasn't too depressing. I hope I tried to make it a little bit more fun.
That last scene.
It made it. It made it.
Good.
I know. But yeah, so the next couple ones are gonna be more on the somber side, but I promise it'll get better before the end of the season. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. Shout out Himalaya Black, Benji Wilson for, you know, everything that they do in regards to cover art and music. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Bye!